Before we get started, I just wanted to show you the finished product here of the cool cat cowl. It was so called because it's super cool and funky and so easy you won't believe it. So here it's kind of a bandana triangular shape. This part folds over. Now mine here, I cast it off with another color. You are absolutely free to do something like that if you want to. Go for it. If not, you'll just be using one color. It slips right on. You can certainly embellish it if you want when you're done. Get a little flower to put on there, maybe just a simple button, nothing at all. It doesn't really need anything, it's fun. It'll keep you warm in the winter. Just zip up your jacket, you're good to go. It's 100% super chunky Peruvian wool. Here's another fun one. Hot pink, well, one of my favorites. I just can't get enough hot pink lately, and I just love it with the black and the white. Anyway, so step 1 to knitting is making a slip knot. Step 2 is casting on. So let's make the slip knot, and I'm going to show you how. Don't be scared, it's super easy. I'm going to put my camera down so you can see my hands. All right, let's get to it. So here is your yarn. Okay, here, this part is called the tail. The yarn that is attached to the ball is always called the working yarn. Always. That's just kind of a knitting term, working yarn. So I want you to take about 6 inches and leave that right here as your tail. Take your right hand and hold your yarn like a rainbow with your hand on the top. Your tail is on the left, your working yarn is on the right. Take your left hand and hold the bottom. You haven't done anything, you're just holding the bottom. So now I want you to take your right hand and twist it counterclockwise once. You've made an X. The bottom hasn't changed. Your tail is still on the left. I'm trying to show you that a little better. Your working yarn is still on the right. Keep holding that on the bottom though with your left hand. Do the same thing with your right hand. Give it another counterclockwise twist just to have another twist there. Again, the bottom has not changed at all. Tail is on the left, working yarn on the right. Take your right fingers, put them through this little loop because now you're going to grab your working yarn. You're just going to grab it down and you're going to pull it right through the hole. So now you're just going to snug the whole thing up ever so gently. And that is your slip knot. Let's do it one more time a little bit faster. So again, take your yarn about 6 inches on the left for your tail. Hold it like a rainbow. Hold the bottom. Give it a twist counterclockwise. Now you have an X. The bottom hasn't changed. Give it another twist counterclockwise. Bottom hasn't changed. Grab your working yarn through that loop. Pull everything to snug it up. Try and keep about 6 inches, and that part is actually for the end, and I'll tell you about that later. There we go. Take your knitting needle and put it through. Okay? Now, there you go. Snug it up to your knitting needle. That is part 1. You've done your slip knot. So whenever you knit now, you're going to hold it like this. These are round needles, but I pretend that they're not, and I just pretend that they're straight lines because they feel better in my hand than those big, long wooden or metal needles. To me, these are just easier to hold. So, here we go. You're going to hold your needle with a point facing to the right. Obviously, I think that's pretty obvious to most people. Take your other needle. Now, so you have one loop here on your needle. Take your right needle, you're going to stick it through, and they always say from front to back, which is correct, but it sounds confusing, but just think of it this way. This is the front of your stitch. This is the back of your stitch. So you take your right hand needle and it goes through that loop. You make an X with your needles. Just trying to show you here. Okay, there you go. There's your X. Now, you're not going to worry about that tail at all. You take your working yarn, okay, in your right hand. Counterclockwise, wrap it around that needle that you just put through the loop and made the X with. Counterclockwise. Then pull the right hand needle straight towards your belly. You will have some yarn there. You want to pull that through. Here we go. Now this yarn is going to go on your left needle. So just take it and transfer it right on there. Now you have 2 stitches. You're going to do this 20 times to cast on 20 stitches for this pattern. So let's do it again. Take your right needle, put it through the loop front to back. It looks like a little X there. Take your working yarn, wrap it around that needle on the right, counterclockwise. Pull that right hand needle towards your belly. You can tell I have kids' belly. And you'll see that there's a little loop of yarn there now. You're going to pull that a little bit toward you. You don't want this to be tight. You want it to be looser than tighter. Pull that out, transfer it to the left needle. Don't worry about twisting or anything. None of that really matters. We'll do it one more time and then I'll let you do 20 of them. Put it through. It looks like an X. Left working yarn, right hand needle with your working yarn goes around counterclockwise. Pull this down towards your abdomen. You see you have some yarn here now. Pull that out. Give yourself a little slack. Pull that out as much as you want to there, an inch or so. Put that yarn, transferring it to your left needle. Then you can pull that. Don't pull it tight, just a little bit snug. Okay, do that 20 times and you will have 20 stitches.